All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to see for these two Google searches if BSS is present. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city, the Bay right now. Focus on talk about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we gotta get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer's simply gonna click down through everyone, open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and that kills our margins. And since we're not, we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's, more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week, it seems like. Basically, anytime anyone gets a new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers, or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers, means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. A few new boudoir photographers into the market pushes our website back to slot, whatever, page somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false I know this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google will actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So, okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And, if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. Obviously, we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing, being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light, the warning signal saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And S-cubed methodology, I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that, but that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something I see that kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own website and shoot boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one of first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. I mean, this would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours, in the face of massive market saturation. Whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So like, dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once true with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page one on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, we take those more slots on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page one. And that's because if everyone else got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case, someone else has 2 links. Well, guess what? We are, our 3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, utilizing S-cube, purely utilizing S-cube methodology for myself. So I want to, frank for the term here, BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology. Started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. Let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. So now the big mission here, we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness, for either of these searches. So we got a local search, we got a city search here. So we got Bella Rosa. All right, not here, we're done there. Boom. All right, boudoir photographer, Auburn, California. Seems like there's an Auburn in like every state. So boom, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. Boom, we got 4. Boom, we got 5. Awesome. People searching this, who are they clicking on? Who are they going to? Obviously going to the person most likely that's got 5 out of 10 slots. Awesome. And yeah, so we got insane coverage here. This is what we like to see. My bet is they're not disappearing. My bet is they're treading water or growing. All right, now we'll go to the big city. We want to have so they do not have BSS the first search. They hit the GBC minimum for the first search. Let's see here though. All right, so we got boom, 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 boom. Nope, nope. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for the big city, Sacramento. So we got BSS here, and we got we did not meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for the large city. City's always harder. So we can take this back. So first search, no BSS. They do not. This boudoir photography business does not have boudoir search sameness. But yes, for the Sacramento, the large city search, 0 out of 10 slots, and we did not meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local search or city search with the highest intent boudoir buyer searches, and you had BSS for one or both of them, or you did not meet the GBC recommended minimums of 3 out of 10 slots page one of Google search for either one or both of them, and you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is actually a false belief, and you understand, well, now we can actually go and grab and take as many page one Google slots as we want. Way better than ads, because Google PPC, I believe the max we're getting is one PPC slot, even if there's 4 or 5 slots available. And once stop spending on ads, that momentum dies. With S-cube methodology, there is still some momentum that continues after. It's not infinite, but there is still momentum that continues after. And you're saying, okay, S-cube methodology is perfect for you. It's the way forward. You've been waiting for something like this. You want those initial benefits, more slots page one on Google. And actually, you really also like the sound of the second initial benefit, which is kicking off your competitors off page one on Google, putting them down to page 2. And you actually, you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, more boudoir photographers coming over time. But you're actually looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs already. So you know it's going to happen more and more and more and more. And so you're like, and actually, not only is new gear going to bring more boudoir photographers into the market, but actually the largest portion of new peeps entering the market will be AI taking their jobs. They still need to earn money. And as a result, they turn to become boudoir photographers. Everyone's got an awesome smartphone with great camera, so flood the market. So you're saying, so you realize, hold on, you actually need to also fortify your position page one on Google. Have so many links of yours Google wants to rank page one that Google actually holds them in reserve off on like page two, to where current boudoir photographers essentially cannot even rank page one, and neither can the new entrants that would mostly be coming from AI taking their jobs can essentially no longer rank on page one. And you're saying, okay, the only viable way you can see that happening is also with SQ methodology. And you're liking those benefits, and you're actually liking looking ahead where doing this SQ methodology is building up these basically invisible thematic keyword columns plugged into your brand, in digital cyberspace, under your brand name, website name, social handles, and kind of basically building up back-end AI mindshare in the AI brain. Every single day we successfully execute SQ methodology together. And every single day that happens, we're increasing the probability Google, all these manual search places will recommend us an AI overview, the number one most premium placement that we cannot pay for, and be the only one recommended here, right at the top. So you're seeing everyday SQ methodology builds up building up the keywords, kind of the age, repetition, authority, grouping, relevance, all building up this backend AI mindshare to increase the probability we show up. We're displayed on this AI overview, and also increasing the probability that we show up for every standard AI search in the AI search apps, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. You actually understanding it serves a dual purpose for these AI systems, front-facing, standard search, but also AI search. And last time I did AI search for a boudoir photographer in a city, it recommended 3. This was with ChatGPT. And I went to that city and manually looked, and I was Google and Facebook, and I was able to find like 60. It's like, man, we got to find a way to get recommended here if AI search is only recommending 3. And you're seeing it. SQ methodology is the only solution out there for boudoir photographers that has the highest chance of giving that benefit. And you're also seeing that, you understand, since my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you decide you're going to be a first mover to jump on this, because then you can actually prevent all your competitors from getting it. You get all the benefits, more links page one, kicking more competitors off page one, making them disappear in the short term, and most likely in the long term. Higher chance of being shown AI search, AI overview, approximately 8x faster building a brand, and basically building a massive gap between you and all your current competitors and potential future competitors coming when AI is taking people's jobs to this back-end AI mindshare by executing SQ methodologies successfully every single day. And you also see in the converse, if a competing boudoir photographer in your city jumps on this first, then as a result, you'll actually be frozen out. They'll begin the benefits. They'd begin more slots on page one. They'd be kicking you off page one, maybe even kicking off you page two as well if we could do enough links. So you could be off page 3 or deeper. They're building up this AI backend AI mindshare momentum. They're building out their brand approximately 8x faster than you, and just build a massive, massive gap between me and your competitor and you. And so you would then have to rederive SQ methodology all on your own, or at least derive it in the first place, the first time for yourself. And you'd have to, you'd never feel 100% confident you've actually derived it correctly, because you'd never actually know. And then you'd have to equal our output every single day. And when you equal our output every single day, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. So you'd actually have to 2 to 3x our output every single day. And when that happens, you probably won't even feel confident to put in the time to do that, because again, you would not feel 100% confident you've even derived the strategy correctly in the first place. And who's even got 80 hours a day to do all this? So you realize now, you're saying that you're like, screw that. I'm going to be the first mover in my city. I'm going to prevent every other boudoir photographer from my area from doing this. I cannot, afford to miss this. Then shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But when I do open my DM, shoot me a DM. And what we will do is we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.